let's talk about common services and their availability and stability. Now, there are a lot of things that you've taken for granted living in your Western country, and you want to make sure that these things not only exist, but they're pretty stable. Just a few examples would be the internet connection, the availability of Wi-Fi, the cell phone service, the ride-sharing service, and many other things that you're used to, but sometimes they're not available or not very good in other countries, and these could be deal breakers. However, you won't be able to tell until you actually get there. For example, when I went to Cebu City in Philippines, it was an amazing place with amazing women and food and so forth, but the infrastructure there just wasn't good enough. Just was not up to my and probably your standards, so I knew I could not live there no matter what. You could not get a Wi-Fi service pretty much anywhere, including Starbucks. That is something that I've taken for granted. I like to work on my laptop out of a coffee shop most of the time. I literally just came for one to tape this video. So when it's not available, it is a deal breaker a lot of times. When I ordered ride-sharing service in Cebu City, I realized that sometimes there are no cars available at all. And when one comes, it may just be a clunker that is simply unsafe, would not have the seat belts working, and I just wasn't comfortable getting in some of them. And of course, the cell phone service. You probably haven't thought about that problem in many years. However, it is still a problem in some of the developing countries. Unfortunately, this is where I'm not doing air quotes, and you better get there and test this for yourself. And there are many other examples, and there are many other services that you'll just have to check for yourself, but make sure to have a list. But like I said, until you get there, you will not know. And of course, you can ask these questions in online communities and you will get answers. However, and this is where you have to be careful. People might tell you one thing, but then once you get there, it's a completely different world and it's a completely different availability of services, and you will be like, wait a second, but I was told the internet here is everywhere and plenty. But then you realize that the guy who suggested it to you just went to this one coffee shop that just happened to have Wi-Fi, and then he never bothered checking the rest 99.999% of the city, and you trusted him. This is why this is very important to do this dry run, because you will find out that all of this advice you're going to get before you get there will turn out to be about 80 to 90% wrong.